YouTube and social media world. It's your girl Miss KJnae coming at you again. Man, it's hot. We just came like a heat wave out of nowhere, and it's like 90s. It's super hot. So I was like, today is a good day to go ahead and do a video continuation on this communication segment that I decided to do. And so last video I was talking about dialoguing and being honest with how you feel and talking and communicating with one another, and how much of an importance it is to communicate. So with this video I wanted to continue that and touch on the dialogue regarding the shutdown. It's almost like a movement. It's like a shutdown movement. Like, you know, when people don't want to talk, when they don't want to hear what you have to say, it's like immediate shut down. And so we want to talk about how that affects your relationship, and really why you shouldn't do that, and how much really of a childlike behavior that is. And you're like, oh, well, what you trying to say, I'm a kid? No, what I'm trying to say, since we are dealing with grown and sexy, we're dealing with the grown here. So what I am saying is that when you automatically shut down, it's like going back into when you got in trouble from your parent or your grandparent or somebody of authority, and you didn't want to hear what they had to say because, you know, everything is pointing at you. You did this, you did that, and you shouldn't hit, and you know, all of that. It goes back into, well, let me just go into La La Land, or, you know, it starts like wah 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 wah, starts sounding like that, like the Charlie Brown cartoon. So you just shut down, and we carry that into our relationships with our spouses and our significant others, and that is not a good thing when it comes to communicating, because it shuts down everything. It's not just shutting down communication and dialogue, it's shutting down feelings and emotions for the person that is the receiver, and the person that is trying to state their case of concern or the emotional issue that's at hand. And when you shut them down, that's like rejection, and no one wants to feel rejected. So that shutdown it's not productive at all for handling a situation as an adult. And so it's like, why you gotta bring it out like, you know, an adult type childlike thing, because it's not productive. So things that are not productive in regards to how you communicate has to be brought to the forefront and dealt with from a base fundamental type area before you build up into reasons why people do shut down. So first of all, we know that shutting down when someone is talking to you, one, it's rude, and it's, you know, a disrespect, and it hurts people's feelings to, you know, build up the courage to talk about their feelings with someone that they're supposed to entrust their most deepest thoughts with, and supposed to share things with, how they're feeling, how things are going, if things are going well, if things are not going good. And when things are going well, everybody is okay with the listening ear, but when it comes down to hearing something that you don't want to hear, that puts the spotlight on you, then you shut down, and that gets you nowhere. There's no resolution in that. There's no moving forward. There's no growth. And then what a lot of people do is they just, you know, move on to the next thing, or sweep it under the rug, or try to do things to not discuss it. One thing is, timing is very important when you do want to discuss something, and unfortunately to say, because some things in what I'm talking about, I was talking about rebuilding the family, so I have to bring up some general things as well. There are some things that men do that's just general men stuff, and there are some things that women do that's general woman stuff. And this one, in regards to dialoguing and the shutdown timing in regards to how sometimes women want to address things and it's not a good time, is a big issue to the man shutting down. When he comes home from work, he's not really trying to hear any problems that are at home in regards to the kids, bills, attitudes, anything like that. Or if he's coming from the gym, just relieve some stress. He comes home dealing with issues and stuff like that. It makes him want to go right back to the gym and relieve some more stress. So timing is a factor when it comes to a person receiving what it is that you're trying to say to them, because you're going to say it in the mannerism that you feel and that you understand. That does not mean that the person that you're giving the situation to is going to receive it and perceive it the same way that you're giving it out. So even when you discuss something, that's why I say the childlike behavior, you have to put it on the even playing field, because everybody doesn't think alike. Everybody, when you say something, it may sound different, so it may be perceived differently, and you don't want to leave things up for perception. And so that's what the shutdown does. If I ask you a question and you don't answer, then most of the time people just perceive that the question is already answered, and then when you come back later, it's like, I didn't ever say yes or no. Well, you left it up for perception because you shut down, and that is not okay. So we don't want to do that, but we also want to be concerned about the approach when we are talking to someone about something that we have an issue or concern with. So if they are shut down because people know when they're oops, I messed up, oops, ooh, I'm in trouble, ooh, it's about to go down. You already know you about to hear it, right? And that's not male or female based. It's just when someone does something to offend someone or hurt someone's feelings, it needs to be addressed. And of course, no one wants to hear anything negative or hear that you hurt somebody's feelings or that you have to consider someone else's feelings. That part, yeah, that consideration of feelings is a big one. So, but to do that, you have to be open and you have to be fair. You can't just come in shut down because you have to deal with an issue and you just don't want to deal with it. You can't be with someone longevity and of substance if you're going to be that type of person. That's just not going to work. And then if the shoe is on the other foot, then that wouldn't work for you either. So you can't do that. And so the approach is very important. Timing and the approach. Then you have to consider the person that you are talking to, the person that you're with, because usually when you get with someone, you have your commonalities, but then you also have the opposite attracts part, and that's usually the opposite of you. So the person that's going to say, hey, we should try it this way, or hey, have you thought about this, or hey, let me help you. And don't be afraid to ask for help. You're with this person, you entrust this person, you have to be able to say, can you help me with this? Because I'm not quite sure, or I just want your advice. What do you think? This is your teammate. This is someone that's rooting for you. So this is someone also that has to correct or bring to the forefront when things are destructive to the relationship, or something is a mishap, or prevention. That is the best person to have on your team. Someone that is proactive, trying to prevent things before they happen. That is a good teammate to have. So you can't shut down from that person because you may not be the person that's in the lead right now in regards to making good judgment calls. It could be the other person, and that's fair because you may be doing awesome in something else, but your decisions right now are just not up to par, and we got to talk about that. We got to talk about things that's affecting us. We got to talk about whether it's financial, whether it's spiritual, whether it's emotional, mental, whether it's with the children, the careers, whatever the pathway that we're going. Vacation. Some people don't even take vacation. You better go out with your boo. That's a problem for people. You get with people and then you get complacent. You stop dating. You stop laughing. The fun about you leaves and all of that. So it's like when people come to you with that to say, hey, babe, this is not working out the way it needs to be. We got to find our happy place. You can't shut down when someone comes to you and say, I noticed this, or I noticed that, or, this is kind of bothering me, and we are at this stagnant place and we need to move forward, and we have this issue. Can we resolve it? You have to be able to come with a resolution. You cannot sit there and not resolve issues in your relationship and sweep them under the rug. You can't act like they didn't happen, and all because you as a person releases something. You have to give the receiver an opportunity to process what you just threw out in the atmosphere. You can't be like, get over it. You can't just do that, because you never know what it took for a person to communicate with you in the first place. But you cannot shut down from situations if something comes up and it brings you back to a thought or back to a situation and all of that stuff. You can't just shut down. And if you have, problems with doing that, with disattaching from previous situations, then you need to discuss that with the person that you're with, so they know, well, when this person does this or they do shut down, you have to also, as the other party, be able to reel them back in. You have to know the person that you're with. That is very important. It's like when you ask a person, what do you love about a person? What do you like about a person? What do you think about a person? You should at least come up with 3 to 5 different things automatically about that person, because you know that person. If you can't do that, that means you really don't know that person. Then you got to question, why are you here? Type stuff. And you don't want to have to do that, especially if it's longevity. So you have to be able to dialogue, and you cannot shut down. And so I just wanted to come in regards to that, because people do shut down, and it's not positive at all, and it just causes a lot more confusion and destruction when you are on the shutdown. You can't do that with the person that you're supposed to share your heart with. You can't do that. It's not going to work. So remember, we're doing this communication. There's going to be a couple of things as they come. I'm going to come with it. So keep it grown and sexy, whatever you do. Holla at your girl. This is Miss KJnae. Peace out.